So I just first of all want to acknowledge that I'm on, you are likely participating in learning from or near the territorial land of one of the many Indigenous groups across Canada. And I acknowledge that I'm presenting from the territory of the local people of the 1923 Williams Treaty, the Anishinaabe, the Mississauga, the oh, I always do that wrong, Haudenosaunee, gotta get it better, and the Wendat people, on whose beautiful land I am able to teach, learn, explore, and share my passion for the arts integration with you. All right. So Amar already introduced himself. I'm Mary Walker Hope, and I'm from Brighton, Ontario, so just down the road from Toronto a little ways. Tonight we're going to be taking you into how to actually add in some tools that can all kind of be in one place for you. So today's plan, we're going to create a geometric garden using Clarice Cliff's work as and she's an inspiration herself as well. We'll use Microsoft Whiteboard, PowerPoint, and Wakelet, and take a look at all three of those things and make sure that you have an understanding of how those can all kind of work together. And hopefully we'll get some playtime in as well. So having Microsoft PowerPoint is a good thing to have. We'll try and get you in getting your extensions and adding on things for Microsoft Whiteboard. And if you want to, you can add in the Wakelet app as well. And it's an extension that we can add into Teams. So engaging students to collaborate online, right? One of the hardest things to do right now. And people are getting tired, very, very tired. And it's been it's been hard to do this. And so being able to not juggle things all over the place. And if you were here this afternoon, that's what it felt like to me that I was doing, was trying to juggle 1,000 things because this wasn't working and that wasn't working. So being able to have everything all in one place, hopefully will help with that as well. So we're looking at, as we said, Wakelet. That's here in the center, the Wakelet browser extension. We'll be adding Whiteboard into our Teams and looking at PowerPoint as well, using it. So nice, simple tools, and all of this going through, of course, and working with your Teams classroom. So we want to know where you're at right now. So do you feel like these tools are all tools that you know really well, and we don't have to go into a lot of detail about them? Or are there some of these tools that you'd like to discover and do a little exploring into and figure out what they are because you haven't ever seen them before? Maybe that's why you're here tonight. So we want to just know where you're at. So in the chat, if you could actually just type in or even talk, because as Amar said, we're a smaller group tonight. So if you want to just let us know where you're at with these apps. Are you really familiar with them? Is there any one of them that you know nothing about? And I'll gear how I talk tonight about the apps and about the extensions by what the audience needs, right? What you need. So, and Amar, if you don't mind looking at the chat and letting me know what you're seeing. I'm not seeing the chat at all.
A lot of folks seem to be brand new to Wakelet.
Okay.
Whiteboard also, someone mentioned they haven't used it before. PowerPoint's a tricky one, right? I'm sure everyone knows PowerPoint, but there's a couple of features you want to highlight, Mary, that I'm sure most people aren't familiar with. I'm an expert PowerPoint user myself. I learned quite a bit from Mary on how we could use it with art. Yeah, Wakelet seems to be generally what we're getting introduced to as well.
Lovely. So basically, we'll go through and take a look at the different things then for sure. As Amar said, visual arts and music and drama and dance, all the arts are actually my passion. That's really what I'm very passionate about. So when I was able to find that something like PowerPoint and even Whiteboard in its own way can be a drawing tool, can actually be a really powerful drawing tool. So it's going to be fun to show you some of that tonight as well. Okay, so we know where you're at. That's great. So right off the bat, if you haven't done this before, we want you to go to office.com and sign into your Office account, okay? So if you haven't done that, then that's where we need you to go first. So go to office.com and sign in. And if I can escape, yes I can, from there for just a moment. I'm just going to go here and show you. Once I've gone into my Office account, I'm going to be seeing this. Okay, so that's really the screen that we want you to be seeing as well. And you'll notice right off.
Office.com is also, for those of us that might not use this to get to Office regularly, your school board definitely has a way to get here faster. You probably have a much faster way to do that. Me and Mary have no way to know how every school board gets to their Office dashboard, so for us, it's easier to redirect you to this website. Anyone can log in with their school account, and it'll take them directly to their school Office account. From here, we're going to be able to access Teams and Wakelet and everything we need to play with for tonight.
Thanks, Amara. That's absolutely right. Yes. So if you don't need to worry about this stage and you're actually in there, that's great. But as Amara said, we had to, so that's perfect. So we're in there. And hopefully everybody's in Teams. If you have any troubles at all, please just let us know in the chat, and Amar can let me know that I need to slow down or do whatever with that, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into Teams and we're going to add the Whiteboard app, okay? So it's going to be a tab that we're going to add. At the top of the page, and I'll go into there in just a minute to show you, you'll see that there's a plus sign at the end of the channel. So you likely have posts and files and all those kind of things. I'm in an account right now with Amar, so we actually have a little classroom set up between the two of us. And that plus sign is where you want to click to actually get Whiteboard. Okay, so if I go back over into my Teams, and there I am, seeing that same window that you just saw. Right here at the end, I've got the plus sign. I'm just going to let it load there as well. And what I'm going to do is when I click on Whiteboard, you want to name your whiteboard. So for tonight, maybe just make a test whiteboard, call it Geometric Gardens if you want, because this is going to be where we're going to play tonight as well. So give it whatever name you want it to have. I already have Geometric Gardens as a whiteboard, so I'm not going to do that myself. I like the fact that you can actually keep it right on the channel. So just leave that checked off, and it's going to actually post onto the channel as another tab. So then you're going to hit save. And now you should see that at the top here, now I have to move over one because this is actually, there's my whiteboard there. So I called it Geometric Garden Whiteboard, and you can see that it's actually highlighted there. And so now it is right on my channel with everything else, okay? The same thing is going to happen with putting Whiteboard on, or Wakelet, I'm sorry, Wakelet. So again, go back into the plus sign. We're going to add another tab. So add the tab, go to Wakelet, click on it this time. And it's going to ask you to put in, okay, the public or the unlisted URL. So we are actually we know that that's there. We're going to go off, and I wondered about this because I set it up earlier. I couldn't actually check this. We're going to go out and actually create a Wakelet account first, and then that's going to go in there, and we'll be able to pop it right into there, okay? So let me get back into my PowerPoint here, and we'll finish off with that part. All right, so we have Whiteboard in. We're going to go, we're doing the same thing for Wakelet. Again, we're going to wait and come back to that one part, but here's what we're going to be doing. We need to set up a free account with Wakelet on Wakelet.com. You're going to create a new collection once you've actually set up your account, and it's all totally free. So by the time that you're in there, we'll start a collection, and I'm just showing you this first, and then I'll go back over into the other window. You're going to give it a name. If you want to call it Geometric Gardens, that might be a good thing for tonight. You can add a little description if you want to. All of this you can change again anyways tomorrow or later, so it doesn't matter. And then we're going to show you how to put things in here and add a cover image and that sort of stuff as well. We likely won't take time to put the cover image in tonight, but you can definitely do that. So let me go back
for a second, Mary. Just for those of us, because I know some of us are new to Wakelet,
yes.
Myself included, I'm going to include myself in that category. What exactly is Wakelet?
Oh, good question. And I guess I should really be saying that, shouldn't I? As I didn't get a chance to even use it this afternoon. So Wakelet is actually, the way that I think of it is a Pinterest board of anything and everything that you want to have on a specific subject. So if you were doing whole thing about symmetry in math. Okay, let's just say that that's just what it was going to be about. You could actually be collating and collecting all kinds of things from across on the internet, websites, videos, images, any of those kind of things can be collected and created into a Pinterest board. So for example, if I go into this one, this is the Geometric Gardens one that I set up for this lesson. So everything in here is all stuff that is pertinent to doing that lesson. So I could have been clicking on this and then I would have gone right straight to my looking at this was the bilateral symmetry that we were going to look at with the cat, right? So half of his head, obviously, if you drew a line straight down the middle, he should be exactly the same as on the one side as the other side, and that's kind of fun. So each one of these little pieces that I've put here into the Wakelet, I can actually do things with and just click on them and they're automatically there. That was my Kiwi that I used this afternoon to show radial or spherical symmetry as well. And we were trying to draw a line across it and everything to show how that worked. And I'll be able to show you how that looks in Whiteboard too. So anything that you want, anything that you want to put into your Wakelet is there for you to actually share. And what I love about this is that this is not just something that you can do. So you can give a code to your students, and if let's say that you want them to do a project, well, even a project like what we're doing here, and they do their geometric garden, and once they've finished doing their actual their drawing that they've done, then they can actually send all of those to a Wakelet and just have it all right there. And you can go through all of them to take a look as a whole class. And so you can easily pop them up on the board and let everybody be able to do some feedback and see how that looks. You can also have, let's say that you have, this was my, with my students, I have this Wakelet right now for the Geometric Garden. They may find that they have more things as well that they want to add. So I can invite them in, I can give them the code, I can copy this code, I can give them a QR code. So anybody that has access to that link is able to come in and actually add things into that Wakelet if you want to. Does that help a little bit, Amar?
I know that helped me personally a lot.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And you know what? No, that's perfect. Thanks for asking that. If anyone else has any other questions with that too, please. I found that if I went onto the websites looking for things, the really cool part about this, and I was going to get into this a little bit later, but I certainly can do it right now, is that let's say that I'm going into a site, and let's keep it with symmetry and keep it with geometric things. So let's look at symmetry in buildings. Who knows, right? Oh, cool. So we have all these different ways that we have things that are being symmetrical. Well, I can do two things. Once I actually have set up my Wakelet account and I have things linked up, which we'll do, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put onto my browser the Wakelet extension. So we can add that in. And if I go back into my Wakelet here, you'll notice at the very top, so you should see this right off when you're going in and you set up your account, you actually download the free Wakelet browser extension for Edge, and then, or whatever you're using, but Edge is obviously what we're wanting to use tonight. And when you set up and download that, you get the Wakelet extension up here. Now you'll notice right off the bat that Microsoft actually doesn't let you let Wakelet have any kind of what's the word I want? They can't have any privileges or any authority on your sites, because they don't want. What happens is Wakelet tries to actually have you when you log in to have the Wakelet site as the first site on your browser, and so obviously you don't want that. And so I had to go in and whoops, sorry, I didn't want to show you that part yet. I had to go in and make sure that when I set up my extensions, that I allowed it from the Microsoft Store afterwards, but it wouldn't actually just automatically be there. So it was installed, but it had to be turned on. So to begin with, this was toggled to the off setting. Okay, so the extension, once it's there, and I'm going to go back out into my Symmetry and Buildings. I'm going to look at this building right here, okay, the one that's, I'm not even sure where it is. And I can do two things. It's so simple and so quick that what happens is I can right click on that. And if you look down at the bottom of my screen, now, because I have my Wakelet account, I can just save this to Wakelet. So I click on Save to Wakelet. This screen shows up. Ha ha ha, she says. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. It's trying to make me look like I don't know what I'm doing. Come on. Okay, I'm going to try a different picture. And I'm going to save to Wakelet. I got to look around my camera. Oh, isn't that maddening? Of course, it should work. Anyways, what normally happens, and I'll show you back in the PowerPoint because I have it from when I just did it a few before we were online. You can actually save it right to Wakelet and pick which Wakelet you want that picture to go to. So if you have all kinds of different things, you might have a language one. I have a book provocations one that I've started. So I love the idea of being able to read a picture book and then being able to get images and things that go along with that book. So that's another one of the things that I like to use it for. So that one's not working like that, but if I click on the picture, let's try it this way. Click on the picture. Okay, click on the picture. Let's go back here to the other one. That's fine, I can stay there. And I hit the Wakelet extension up in the top corner. So I'm up here on my top right. I hit Wakelet, and there it is. Now it's doing it. It should do this the other way as well. And as I said, see, I can save it to Geometric Gardens. So I can put that in there, and then when we look a little bit later, it's going to be there. It said item is saved to the collection. So it's a really neat way of collecting and having in one spot all these different things that you're looking at that have to do with one subject. And the students can use it as well, right? They can actually do that same sort of thing. You can set up for them what the topic is going to be, and they can throw things into there, or they can actually be adding into your things as well. Let me first, though, go back over to the PowerPoint because I wanted to make sure. So has everybody been able to get into Wakelet? If they've done that and they started a new collection, just gave it a name just so that you actually are in there, because we need to have you with an account before we can actually go back the other way.
Maybe this is a great chance to pause. Why don't we all head over to wakelet.com, or I'll get that link. And why don't we make an account to play around with?
Sounds like a great idea. Okay. So wakelet.com. And of course, I'm already in here. So that's why I can't create one right at the moment.
So my question then, Mary, is did you have to register with it, or does Wakelet automatically detect your Microsoft account or your other party accounts?
It's interesting. When I went in and I was actually in my Teams, right? When I was in looking at this, I was able to, instead of trying to go in here and say that I wanted to add this Wakelet, when I was in Wakelet, I can actually go into here and click on the 3 dots for Geometric Garden, and I can share it and send it right to Teams. So I could actually do it with copy pasting it, and that's fine as well. But if I went to Teams, I should be able to share it. So let me just set up a new collection. Let me just do one that we'll just make a blah blah one. Blah,
so
blah.
If you're following along with Mary right now, after you're done registering with Wakelet, if you've logged in, we're just going to start a collection. And maybe you don't want to name it blah blah, but whatever you're going to name it, you come up with that. That's awesome.
I just like that, so that's what it's going to be for now. Now I could add a cover if I want to, and upload, or choose from the library, whichever way I want to do. Maybe I'll just add Clarice because she's just a superstar to me. Lady back in the 1930s with, you know, over 20 other women working for her. Like, just pretty darn cool. I don't know why they didn't upload them. Huh. They don't like Clarice. All right, we'll throw that one in. There we go. And of course, I can, if I only want a little part of that, I can certainly move things around and change things as well, right? So put that into there, keeping it fairly symmetrical. And now here's where we have the, we're adding things in. So I can add, and I can decide anything that I want to. I could put in that address for the symmetry in buildings. So I go back here and I grab that, copy and paste it into here. And there it is. Okay. If I wanted, go ahead.
You're putting together resources for symmetry. You're collecting that building. That's perfect. And so we have an image, and if we wanted to, we're going to go add maybe an article. Like, this is where all the resources are kind of getting put together.
Exactly. Yeah, we're putting everything into here. I can even add some text. So at the very beginning of it, if I wanted the kids to actually have something that even the rubric or whatever it is that I want them to actually be thinking about while they're doing this. If I was doing a critical analysis of some piece of artwork, then I would put in those questions, those key questions to ask them, you know, to be looking at this piece of art and what is it that you're going to get from that.
Nice. So if you want to create scaffolding or give them some prompts on where we kind of want to take them, you can add that to the resources well over there. Where did you do that for? Add text. Okay, nice.
Add text. Yeah. So I add text and I'd say for this critical analysis, list 3 ways that symmetry is created. And I mean, it could be anything that's there, but yep, that goes in, and now those words are there. I can add above, I can add below, it doesn't matter, but I can actually, once I have hit done over here, then what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to move any of my pieces around as well. So if you look on my screen right now too, in the top left-hand corner, once you've actually created your first collection, we can change the layout. So I can leave it with a media view. When I talked to you before about the Pinterest kind of idea or the Instagram kind of idea as well, I can change it into a grid view, and that way everything is just little squares, 2 squares at a time, and you see them all there. They're going to be that. The mood board, it actually changes just the way that it looks as well. So you can play with that and decide what you want to have. I like the grid myself because it just, everything is right there for me to see. So I kind of like the way that that works. Okay, so I'm not going to add a lot into here just for time's sake, but I am actually going to have you look at one more thing in here too. Right now, the sharing of this is private. I'm the only one that can see this, the same as you. So until you change this setting up here in the top right corner, nothing else can be done there. So I'm going to change the setting from private to unlisted. And that way, only you and your students are going to be able to see it because they're the only ones with the link. So if you want everybody anywhere to see it, you're going to make it public. But unlisted is just whoever you invite into your collection. They're the only ones. So I keep everything as private to start with until I know I'm ready that I want to share it. And then I put it unlisted and let it go out to other people. So if I put this as unlisted right now, you can see it has the little eye with the line through it, which means that not everybody can see it. It's not public yet. And then I can click done. And when I do done, I now have my next collection. So if I go back to my main screen, which if I keep clicking at Wakelet, it takes me back to my main screen. I can see that I now have blah blah is there. And the picture that I put in is actually there for it too. It's a much nicer picture than it is a title. So, and I remember I was telling you about those book provocations. That's another collection that I had just that I've started because I know that's something that I want to do. It also tells you how many items you have in there too, which is great. And when we if you don't want to keep it, then you're just going to hit delete collection and it'll go right away. So the 3 dots gives you that as well. And you can see you can change your visibility, we can share, we can invite people. So that was that invite code that I was talking about earlier for you to get your students in. Is there any other questions?
Like the QR code. The QR code's a really fast way to get it. If you have a smartphone, just flash it on the screen. We have no questions yet, but if there are any questions, please feel free to come off mute. Feel free to drop it in chat. Maybe we'll pause for 5 seconds, and why don't we keep on going, Mary?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, I'll get myself back in where I want to be, and people can just make sure that they're caught up to us, and that's great. Okay, so that was our adding the Wakelet. Talk to you about unlisted, which is great. And so now we should be able to take this code that we have. So if you have a collection started, and remember, you can just keep going back and editing it anytime you want. And I'll show you, right? If I go back into blah, blah, then all I have to do is hit edit. I likely shouldn't have called it that, Amar. You should have stopped me on that one. If I hit edit, then I can start adding more things again. So everything can come into there, okay? But I'm going to hit done because I want to do something with this. So we have our invite. I'm going to copy that the link because we know that that's where we're looking at now. And when I go back into here, this is what happened for me when I got Geometric Garden. It actually popped up right away because when we were in, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth here. I should make sure that I'm there. When I wanted to share this, I'm sorry, let me do that. No, I don't want to invite. I want share. Sorry, I'm sorry. Right there, sharing the collection. So the little arrow that's beside the 3 dots, that little arrow is the one that now we should be able to copy this, and that's going to be, remember when we were back in Teams and it said they needed the URL from a Wakelet to add in? Well, that's the URL that can go, but I'd love for you to try and see what happens. I'm going to do this and see what happens if blah, blah shows up over in my Teams. So I'm going to hit Teams, the button right there for Teams. I'm sharing it to myself. And I'm looking for a team. So this is going to be, oh, there's blah, blah is there. Let me see. It's geometric, isn't it? Geometric Gardens with Amar. There we are, okay, in general. So if I click now on general Geometric with Amar, I'm going to share to that channel, or I could create an assignment. So that's what we were talking about earlier, where you can actually set something up with a Wakelet and have the students go into that collection of all that information and create an assignment from that as well. I'll just put share to the channel for now, but just so that you realize that the create an assignment is there as well. Okay, and I'm going to, oh, didn't I have that already? Should have gone into there, right? General and geometric. There we go. It's all in there. So Geometric Gardens with Amar, and I'm going to share that. And let's see if the magic has worked. Your link has been shared. So I'm going to go back over to my Teams. And let's see. I don't see blah, blah. I'm going to try a refresh. The moment. I'm still just seeing 2 there at the moment.
Head over to posts. So on general, all the way to the left where it says
yeah,
posts.
You're right.
So now you can even see that the Wakelet is announced for the entire class. I got it. So that's me, Cobblestone Collective at the bottom. I let everyone know I got it. Now, if you click that, it'll even take you straight to that tab, or it'll open up a new window. Boom.
Yeah.
And now your students are at the resource they need.
That's right. They've got it. Okay. I thought as well that I know that when we set up geometric gardens, it actually pulled in for us the blah blah would have been up here on the top too. So maybe I may not have clicked on saying set it to channel.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that as the plus button at the top. Make it a tab.
Right. Okay.
So notice we're going to be adding a Wakelet, but you could have added a lot of things. If you're using Kahoot, if you're using, I don't know, Poly, there's a bunch of apps. Like, we're not going to go through this one by one, but maybe you want to scroll all the way to the bottom and top. I'm sure something will catch your eye that you're using. There's too much for me and Mary to know here. But there's a lot of different integrations. We're only showing you how Wakelet's going to plug in, but why don't you show them what happens when the Wakelet becomes a tab, and then we'll keep on going forward.
You betcha. Yeah, it's amazing, eh? Okay, so we're putting in here blah.
No, first you're searching Wakelet to connect the app, and then you're going to put in the blah.
Very, very true. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Just
I don't know if I copied it. Oh, I did. Look at that. Oh, no, that's my invite code. Nope, that's not the one I want. I didn't actually. Let me go back into it, into blah, blah, and copy this one.
Just copy that. Exactly.
Yeah. That's right, and that's what we did the last time. Back to here. All right. So, and it says here, enter the public or unlisted. Okay. Notice that it won't say private in there. You can't put any private ones into Teams. It has to actually be unlisted at least. So I've got that in there. Oh, and my lovely little green arrow is there. I'm so happy. And we hit save. And there's blah blah. Okay. And that's how that comes into there too. All right. Now I'm wondering whether people are thinking, okay, this is great. It's a neat tool. I have a lot of tools. So why am I wanting to use this? Where is this going to be actually helping me for what I'm going to be doing? So I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint, and those were the little things that we just wanted to make sure that, you know, you had a chance to have that time to get those things into your arsenal. And then we can actually show the way that we can use them as well. So I talked already about how to save Wakelets or save to Wakelets. If you've already downloaded the extension and you have that little W up in the top of your screen, like it shows here just on that little screen with the spider web, you always will have a choice of where you want to actually save that item as well, in which Wakelet. So whatever Wakelets you make up, you can go boom, 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 and put your resources in really quickly. So this is what we were looking at this afternoon. We wanted to talk about symmetry and the different forms of symmetry and elements of design in visual arts. And so linking the math and the visual arts together this afternoon, we wanted to actually show and be able to use some of the things that I had in that Wakelet to show where the lines of symmetry were. So this afternoon, I had to actually just draw a line down along different flowers and things and use the ruler and show all that, but it wasn't as effective as what it should and could have been. So if I was actually taking a look at this kiwi and saying, okay, so where are the lines of symmetry? I can actually, now that I have Whiteboard, and I actually have taken Whiteboard, let me go back into my screen here for Teams. I know now that up on the top here, even though blah blah is showing instead, I actually know that I have my Geometric Garden Whiteboard is already up here. So I gave it a name already for my whiteboard. And I could have popped this up if it had been working properly. And immediately we could have actually started showing where are the lines of symmetry. What kind of geometric shapes are you seeing on this butterfly or this moth, whichever it is? Just the intricacy of all those triangles. I'd love to see some student actually, you know, take this as a project to try and, you know, use the symmetry and all the geometry in nature and create a design and a piece of art. So what we noticed when we were going through this to prepare for tonight was that in Teams, the version of Whiteboard is actually a little simpler than the version that is the app. So if you can open in the app, you'll notice that right now I have the 5 pens the eraser and the highlighter. I can do text. I can add notes. So if I asked Amar right now to tell me what he sees in this picture, and I hadn't said anything about all of the triangles and all that, you can see over here on the right, Amar's already starting to type because he's put in a note, and that's what he's doing right now is adding in a note. So I could have asked the kids, okay, you know, oh, I see triangles, cool. And if I'd asked him, Amar, where do you think the line of symmetry is, and what kind of symmetry is this? Then he'd be typing that sort of thing in as well. And Amar, are you allowed, I'm just wanting to know, are you allowed to draw a line? Haha, beautiful, I love it. Okay, so all of this is happening right there on our whiteboard. We're able to interact with the, very nice. Okay, nice. Now, can I tell who it is that wrote this? That would be my one thing is like, okay, let's see. And actually we should, this is the other thing that we noticed was that this is one of the things that the Teams version of Whiteboard doesn't do. If I open this in the app, and I'm just going to do this now, and you'll notice that when I go down, open up in the app is up there on the right-hand corner, sorry. If I open the app, all of Amar's things are still there. They better be still there. Whoa, good. They are still there. But what now can happen is we can actually change some settings up here with the 3 lines as well. And so we can actually have an active pen. So if somebody has a touch screen, they're able to put on the active pen. We can also, and this is the one that I love turning on, is the ink to shape one. So that as they're drawing, if they want to actually make the shape be a real circle or a real triangle, it will work. So I can actually do that as well. And I'm just going to go down to the pen so I can write. And down on the bottom is where we see all the pens. But now, can everybody see? We actually have now the ruler as well. And the ruler is pretty impressive because Amar tried to draw a beautiful line there, and we could have done a line to lassoed it, and then it would have snapped into a line. But I can also add in and use all kinds of different pens. And of course, the kids love the different colors and things, right? So we showed this afternoon that we could use a rainbow one as well. And what's really nice is that I don't have to be exact, but see how my mouse is going back and forth all over the place? But because the ruler is there, I can draw the line of symmetry and it stays as a straight line. So I'll take the ruler away and I can actually click on it. Oops, when I go back to, oops, I don't want that. Okay, I can actually click on it and I can move it so that I know exactly where it's going to be and put the line of symmetry there. And of course, students can do that then as well. So imagine as well, you have a Wakelet and you pull in a picture from Wakelet and use that picture in your whiteboard. So we can do that. We can go here to pictures. I can go to a library image for right now. Amar, you're there again. There's our kiwi. Okay, so let me just finish this for a second. I'm going to go back. I'm just going to create a new one so that we're not messing all over everything that's there. And I'm still in the app right now because I can tell I have all these different things that I can do. So I'm going to put the kiwi into here. I have to look around my camera. And there it is. And Amar, I'm going to send this to you. And I'd like you to put on as many lines of symmetry as you think there are in this example so that we can actually see what's happening and see how I'm going to go back just for a second here. Sorry, I went into settings. Let me do that again so everybody sees 3 dots. I went down to post to teams because of course now I'm with my class and Amar's my class. There's our geometric gardens with Amar. Into general and oh, shoot, I just gave you the wrong one. No, I didn't. It's on there as well. Okay, gotcha. So Amar should be able to actually put in, oh, neat, and he replied to the conversation as well. So I mean, we can go back there too. So everything that's in Whiteboard can be used that way. But when we were actually doing the drawing for our geometric gardens, when we got to that point, we found that, and sorry, this is from this afternoon too. So we talked about Clarice Cliff and who she was, and this was the type of pottery she did. These are the ladies that worked for her. They were like amazing, and they all loved her, and she never did anything that was the way that it should be. She was in Britain, she was in the UK, and these were her sugar pots and her teapots were all over the place too and everything. So it was very avant-garde and called Bazaar. So these were her Bazaar girls. So when we're looking, this is some of her work. And I love the fact that she already has so many geometrical shapes in her work as well. So what we wanted the students to do this afternoon was to be able to create a geometric garden with a line of symmetry. And that's what we wanted to kind of show them. And so we found that PowerPoint was actually a much stronger tool to do all the little the things for artwork. And so that's why we went into there. And I'm going to go into just one of the PowerPoints that I had here, because this was one where I was just playing and just figuring out things to do. I have a tablet, so I'm able to actually do some drawing with my touch. So what I found was, if I went over to draw with touch and I picked this pencil crayon, what's neat is that it actually looks like a bit of a pencil crayon. And there's so many tools to find out about. So as I'm drawing, if I want to draw those flowers and I want to, change the color in the center, this is what I was doing over here on the right-hand side. I tried doing seeing what would happen if I made the ink to shape happen on the outside of it. And I didn't really like it, but I just was playing and trying to find out things. And so what we discovered was learning about lines of symmetry. First, I drew this tree. And I thought, okay, well, the tree is easy. I came up and I was drawing with it. But then we realized that there are so many neat things that are in these programs. And one of those things is the fact that when I go into, back to home, insert, here we are. There are shapes and there are icons. And you can see the shapes and the icons up here. And what I discovered when I was just playing around was that in icons, if I wrote in tree, then this lovely black tree, just the silhouetted part of the tree came up. And so I just clicked on it and I used it. And so that is how I started my art, so that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel and have the tree, trying to figure out how to make a tree and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought, I'll just use this because it's crisp and clean. And then every one of these circles, as I was making the circles, I could take a shape and take the circle from here, make a shape. And then, as we said to the kids, right, we don't have to have the fill inside, can be whatever color we want. But what's cool is that I could even put a picture inside this if I wanted to. So if I wanted to add that butterfly inside, just for silliness sake, there it is. So I can do anything with the shapes and with what's going on. The outline, I wanted to make it thicker, and that's what we were doing this afternoon. So I kind of liked, this is, I guess, a 6 point for there. And of course, I can use whatever color I want to, and whatever, that all comes with the shape outline as well, which is up here at the top. But the other neat thing with this, to make it more natural, is that instead of it just being a straight line like what a computer would do, we can make it so that it's curved. We can make it so that it is freehand. And notice how the blue is changing each time, the outline of that, around that butterfly. We can change it so that it is a scribble, okay? And so each one of those, wherever I want to put this, it can actually, I can do Control C and Control V, and I can copy and paste that and use it several times if I want to, and just change the size of it. And that's basically what I did with this tree. That's how I actually was making this tree. And I found that I could do things like add a glow on the outside of it as well, and all those things were in there too. So I'm just going to take my butterflies away here for a moment, and I'm going to take this guy away for just a moment. because the students this afternoon, we asked them to only work on one side of their page because we want to have that line of symmetry. And so if this was the design that they came up with, and what we discovered this afternoon too was I can highlight by left clicking and highlighting the whole thing. If I want to make sure that I'm on there, I'm not on pen anymore. I wanted to make sure that I was on the pointer because it needed to be that. You'll notice that there are no little little squares and dots around each of these little circles separately. And that's because what I did was I grouped them together. So the fact that they're now grouped together, so if I go back to home and I come over, where's my arrangement? So this one says arrangement. Sometimes it automatically says group as well. So if I come down here, as you can see, right now I have it grouped and that's why I can't click on that. I'm going to ungroup it so you can see what it was like. So all those circles, I would have had to have moved every single one of those to try and create something symmetrical and to change it. And that would have been so frustrating for the kids. So instead, I grouped them together. So now it's one thing. And this is what Amara was amazed at this afternoon, was the fact that if I want this to now be reflected across the line of symmetry, all I'm having to do is to click on the left-hand side dot and just keep pulling until I get it over to the other side. And I've now changed the and made it a mirror image of what the other was going to be. I'm going to copy control, so Control C, Control V, so I have two of these. Put the one back over here. And again, the kids can notice that the red lines appear to show you where you're supposed to be. And again, I'm just going to click on this dot right here on this side. Turn it around. I'm going to have to pull it over and then pull it back out again until I have it where it's going to be matched up again. And I think I'm still thinner on this side, so I'll just make that a little bit wider. All right. Now we didn't even get a chance to talk with the older students this afternoon about rotational geometry or rotational symmetry. So that's the greatest thing with this, is that I can rotate this 90 degrees. And now I have my first rotation. And that's what happened here, was that the tree was just rotated 4 times. We created a plate and we put it on. So those are some of the things that can happen with all of this. And by going back into our teams, I just feel like I'm talking here. if Amara, I don't know if anybody has things that they want to be asking, but please go right ahead, because I've only got about 3 minutes here, and then I'm going to let Amara finish off with you. But the nice thing I think about this is putting everything in one spot and then being able to go and open into an app. It keeps everything all together for you as well. And really just letting the kids play with the PowerPoint. And we talked about the fact that in PowerPoint, I can share any page that I want to, any slide that I want, that can actually be shared. Oh, of course, now I'm not seeing right where it is right now. Let's see if I share. I should be able to share. Nope, no, it's fine. Thanks. I should be able to share. I don't want the whole presentation to go. I'll think about that one. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about it. Amara, can you help me on that one? If I want to share just one slide and put it into Teams, I can do that, or throw it into the Wakelet.
You're going to click the share button. Do you see at the top right, there's a share button?
Yep. And
then you could copy the link and toss that into the Wakelet if you wanted to, or you could even just copy that link and toss it into Teams. Okay. Is there something different you wanted to do?
Yeah, I had it. I know that I got into some place where I could just share one slide. So like, I don't need my teacher, my teacher to see all of my, well, you know what, sometimes it's really good to see their process, right? To see where it comes from. But if I wanted to just share one slide, there's a way of doing that as well. But we'll have to say that for another time, I guess. Yeah. All right. So Mar, are there any questions?
No, why don't we open the floor to some questions? Otherwise, we'll start moving on to what resources are, next steps. I'll share our contact information in the chat. Mary, why don't you start wrapping things up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thinking that if there aren't questions, I'm hoping that means that you're okay with everything, and you're sitting there busily trying to make a Clarice Cliff symmetrical drawing, which is they're just, oh, I forgot to show you one thing. Oh my word, I have to show them this, Amar. I have to show them this. Okay, so I now have my lovely, amazing rotational symmetry happening here with my geometric tree. And I wanted to show you what happens if you actually click on design. And this is the neatest part at the very end of this, is that the students can think about all the elements of design. So if you're looking at this for a visual arts mark as well, then they should be looking at what kind of texture, what kind of colors are they using. If they're in grade 8, they're likely trying to, they're looking to do analogous colors, I think. And in grade 6, it's all about complementary, right? So they can be, if you want that as one of the assessment points that you have for this assignment, then you're going to be thinking about things like, okay, did they use complementary colors? So when I go into design, this is just, it's so neat. Design actually changes things automatically for me. So I don't have to do this 5 times. I actually can see what sort of things I want to have happen. So there's the one that I had used before about the plate, but I'd actually added in a background into the circle in here so that didn't show up. So there's all kinds. If I click on the little, there's just a little pull down menu right here beside the designs. I can go into any of these. And by looking at this, you can see now it changes all the colors. That was why I wanted to just send the one sometimes as well. But talk about vibrant and the colors that are coming from there. If you're not, this is where I got the blue one from. Depending on what your mood is, what your assignment is, you can change this around so much, and it works really quite well. So design is there. Design ideas over here on the right side. Sometimes they have some ideas for your slides too, and they're very different looking templates. And so you can always click on that and see if they have any suggestions for you. But suggesting all of this to the students is definitely there. So when we were finishing up, let me finish this with this. We had this was just a very simple one that I'd started with. And again, I was just using triangles for this time. I changed the outlines so that they weren't just straight computer outlines. I wanted them to be the freehand or curvy and all that kind of stuff. And this background was the background that I added that just had the green on the bottom. But if I use that with the designer templates, it changed all the colors on it and everything as well. So it's really kind of powerful to see how your image ends up as well. Okay. All right, Amar. I think I'm good. I think I better stop there.
Okay, that was a lot of different ideas. I know I'm feeling inspired. I'm still thinking about cat symmetry and building symmetry, to be honest, combined with Wakelet, PowerPoint for art. Like, thank you so much for sharing that, Mary. I am going to take over the screen right now, if you don't mind. And this was a Microsoft workshop. So for anyone that's interested, if you want to continue your Microsoft learning journey, you can head over to education.microsoft.com, and I'll drop that link in chat as well really fast. Over here, we have a couple of cool things. Number one, under the training option at the top left, you can go through learning. I prefer learning paths, but you can also search for individual courses. Maybe you're interested in learning further about PowerPoint. This is a community designed for educators with all types of resources on how you can learn building literacy, student literacy, and vocabulary with PowerPoint, training teachers to author accessible content. Let's see if they have anything for art in particular. Let's see. Oh man, they might need to add some art courses.
Yeah, I think so.
Notice if you were interested in learning more about Flipgrid, or if you want to go more about Wakelet. I think we just added a new course on Wakelet. or that might be coming in the future. But anyway, if you search for any of the Microsoft apps, they are going to be in here. For the time you spent with Mary today, if you go to the top right, notice there's Writing the Wakelet Wave. They do have a course on that that's added. If you go to the top right where it says sign in, I always recommend you sign in with a personal account, because that way you can keep your credit even if you ever leave your school board. If you sign in, and if it agrees with me to sign in, which Mary, I think all your bugs are like coming to me as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Right? You click over there and you can say enter code. And we've provided a code in chat. That's for Mech code. And you can get credit for today's session. That's going to get you credited towards becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator.